just saying that there's kind of a continuum of awareness, and some of it can be very abstract, which means it's very multiple, because abstractions have no limits. Basically, they can go where they want. We gave them the permission not even to exist, and so then the imagination is the only limit. And then somewhere in between, there's some kind of more of an experiential content, and sometimes it feels good, and sometimes it feels bad. And when it feels good, people kind of tend to want to gravitate there, and maybe see that it's more important than, especially if their abstractions kind of took them in so many ways that it really didn't really add up to anything, or seemed to be very repetitive. And then we said that perhaps there's some place that we could just be fascinated with what really exists, and then it's even simpler, and maybe the simplest, and without any kind of a judgment that one place or another place is better for our attention, but it must be the fascination is nice to know the whole structure, or kind of just know what the options are.
Boy, that's really well put. I like it.
I must have been listening.
Yes, sir. It's beautiful. Well, if I may, I would like to just tell you what my personal experience is now. So in other words, without trying to reason things out, if I may just describe to you something that happened to me. I was regular Joe. I'm still regular Joe. I'm not enlightened. I don't think there is such a thing as enlightenment, but I do think there is such a thing as the self in a very significant way. So I went from regular Joe to regular Joe meditating, regular Joe doing spirituality, and that is fine too. I did that for a long time, and then I don't even want to say I saw the self. The self asserted itself. It stepped forward from the background, would be a good way to put it. So here's what happened to me. It was Mother's Day a few years ago. A very busy day in this house. There was 3 grandmas, 3 moms, and about a dozen kids running around, and I was the only guy in the house. So you can imagine I was very busy. They all had opinions of how I could be using my my time to make some tea and, do some dishes and whatnot. So I was a very busy dude. So I was not in some kind of a meditation. And I was in the kitchen. I was looking out our kitchen window, which has a nice view of the yard. And beyond that, there's a pasture where there's horses. And I was just, primarily washing dishes, but my eyes were resting on the backyard. When self emerged from the background to the foreground, exactly, Richard, as if you were looking at a painting and the canvas just came through the paint and asserted itself. It was beautiful. It was powerful. It's non-negotiable. That's the word really for it. It's not negotiable. I could stack up all my other certainties against this one thing. It's not even that I, Michael, am certain of what I saw. It's that what I saw was certainty itself with a capital C.
When you say non-negotiable, do you mean that it's not open to interpretation?
Yes, that's a good way to put it. That's right. It was a direct experience, and we've wisely reserved that word for just such a usage. Yes, it was a direct experience. I apologize for the paradox inherent in me saying that I saw the self, but really, it's not about me. It didn't result in me becoming an enlightened guy. If anything, one split second after seeing that the self is absolutely, definitely there, and it's made out of solid existence. That's what I'm looking at. One split second after that came the certain knowledge that I don't have that, which it has, and I do not exist. Me and the world, and you did a beautiful job a few minutes earlier of basically showing that we should deal with me and my world as one single unit and compare that to self as another single unit and ask ourselves which of these two exist. So I saw that the self, that solid existence, I saw solid existence assert itself absolutely, undeniably. Split second after that, I had the clear understanding that me and my world taken together as a single piece do not exist. So you see, there's no room in that for me to say that I'm enlightened, because I'm part of what doesn't exist. It's very clear. It was absolutely clear. And then that's it. That, spirituality, I really, really think it comes down to like 2 or 3 sentences. Well, that's what Shankara decided too. Something does absolutely exist. It does. And what is that thing? It's existence. It's actual, dense, solid, thick existence. The rest of it doesn't exist.